Imagine a country lying entirely within Europe, yet larger than France. A place where the architecture of democracy was being written before the United States was even born, and where cities stood magnificent long before London was paved in stone. A land holding a resource so profoundly valuable that entire empires crossed continents, bringing armies and freight trains just to steal the very dirt from the ground. This is Ukraine. If you strip away the broadcasts and the borders, what you find is an untamed giant. From the dense, snow-capped ridges of the western mountains to the staggering, wind-swept expanse of the eastern plains, this is a geography of pure cinematic scale. And beneath it all lies the Chernozem, the Black Earth. It is the richest, deepest, most fertile soil on the planet. For centuries, this endless ocean of golden wheat and towering sunflowers hasn't just survived history, it has fed the globe. This is not a country defined by its ruins. It is the breadbasket of a continent, a masterpiece of endurance. So when the news cycle inevitably moves on and the cameras leave, what exactly is this place? To understand a giant, you must first find its pulse. Here, that pulse is a river, the Dnipro. For over 1,000 miles it carves its way through the heart of the country, a massive artery of deep blue water cutting through the green steppe. A 1,000 years ago, this was the superhighway of the ancient world. Viking longships rode these sweeping currents south to trade with the Greeks, exchanging furs and amber for silver and silk. And right at the river's great bend, crowning the forested hills, rose the heart of it all, Kyiv. They call it the Mother of Cities. By the 11th century, while Paris and London were still muddy medieval outposts, Kyiv was a sprawling metropolis of gold and stone. This was the center of Kievan Rus, a towering empire shaped by a visionary ruler known as Yaroslav the Wise. He built a city that reached for the heavens. At its center stands St. Sophia Cathedral. For a millennium, its golden domes have caught the morning light. Step inside, and you will find an ancient mosaic of the Virgin Mary holding her arms aloft. The locals call her the unbreakable wall. She has stood watch as Mongol hordes, foreign empires, and modern armies marched upon the city. She has never fallen. But the true soul of Kyiv isn't only found reaching into the sky. It is buried deep within the earth. Just down the river, lies the Pechesk Lavra, the cave monastery. Beneath the grand spires, pilgrims still descend into a labyrinth of narrow, candle-lit tunnels. Here, in the absolute quiet of the subterranean dark, rest the uncorrupted bodies of saints who walked these hills 1,000 years ago. This instinct to build downward, to seek sanctuary in the deep, is woven into the very DNA of the city. Today, beneath the bustling, sunlit avenues runs the Arsenal, the metro station. Plunging nearly 350 feet below the surface, it is the deepest transit station in the world. It was engineered for survival. But what you find down there isn't fear. When danger sweeps across the sky, the underground simply becomes the city. Cafes operate, orchestras play, art galleries open in subterranean bunkers. It is a breathtaking display of everyday readiness. A culture that refuses to stop living, loving, and creating simply because the world above ground has turned dark. Kyiv knows that as long as you fiercely protect your roots, the surface can always be rebuilt. If Kyiv is the deep, unbreakable root of the country, the wild southern steppe is its untamed spirit. Follow the Dnipro River south past the old rapids, and the world abruptly bursts open. The horizon flattens. Chest-high wild grasses roll and swell in the wind like an endless ocean of green. This is the realm of Khortytsia, a massive rocky island rising stubbornly from the roaring currents. And this is the birthplace of a very particular kind of freedom. Centuries ago, men who refused to bow to empires and landlords fled the heavy serfdom of the north and east. They vanished into this frontier to become something else entirely: the Cossacks. They were a brotherhood of runaways and outcasts who forged a fierce, self-governing warrior society. Out here on the wild edge of the map, they answered to no lord. They elected their own leaders, casting their votes by shouting into the open air. In 1710, an exiled Cossack leader named Pilip Orlik drafted a document the modern world had almost never seen: a constitution. Decades before the founding fathers gathered in Philadelphia, this steppe warrior wrote a charter that separated powers, limited the authority of the leader, and guaranteed the rights of free men. He would die in exile, but the radical idea he etched into history, that a people could govern themselves by agreement rather than by birthright, would never die. The Cossacks didn't just leave behind political ideals. They left a vivid identity forged around roaring campfires. It was here they cooked kulish, a hearty millet porridge simmering in iron cauldrons beneath the stars. It was here they practiced martial drills that evolved into the hopaka, gravity-defying acrobatic dance that looks like pure celebration but was born as lethal combat training. When they rode into battle, they wore the vishivanka. It is a linen shirt, hand-embroidered with geometric spirals and diamonds drawn from designs older than Christianity. To the Cossack, it was never just a piece of clothing. It was a woven talisman, a charm against death, stitched with the very essence of home. You see the same ancient magic in the pisanka, the intricate wax-drawn egg passed from a grandmother's hands to a child's, carrying a dense map of suns and lines with no beginning and no end. These patterns, these shirts, this fierce independence, they are the deep structure of a people who decided they didn't need anyone's permission to exist. And when foreign empires eventually came to outlaw their language and erase their names, this spirit didn't break. It simply retreated into the most heavily fortified sanctuary of all, the family kitchen. Step out of the wind of the steppe and into the quiet. Across the rolling countryside, scattered like pearls among apple and cherry orchards, stand the traditional whitewashed houses known as the kata. With their thick thatched roofs and painted shutters, they look like remnants of a simple pastoral past. But do not mistake serenity for surrender. When the decrees came from the imperial capitals, when the printing presses were smashed and the Ukrainian language was formally banned from schools, theaters, and books, the culture didn't vanish. It simply went indoors. The family kitchen became the most impenetrable fortress in the country. Here, history was kept alive not in ink, but in ingredients. Look into a simmering pot of deep red borscht. Recently recognized by UNESCO, it is far more than a soup. It is a living genealogy. A recipe rarely written down, but memorized, adjusted, and passed from a grandmother's hands to a daughter's, carrying the exact flavor of a specific family, a specific village across centuries of disruption. And in these warm, lamplit rooms, the outlawed language survived. It hid in lullabies sung over wooden cradles. It was kept breathing by the people who had the least power, yet the longest memories. No one understood this quiet defiance better than a man named Taras Shevchenko. Born the legal property of a landlord, a serf, he eventually bought his freedom and did something revolutionary. He wrote magnificent poetry in the forbidden language of the villages. The empire immediately understood the danger of his words. They exiled him to the remote, barren reaches of the Caspian Sea, with a decree signed by the Tsar himself strictly forbidding him to write or paint. They tried to strip the words right out of him, but for 10 years he wrote anyway. He scribbled his verses on tiny scraps of paper, hiding them deep inside his boots. His book, The Kobzar, would outlive the empire that tried to bury it. The language waited. The people endured. But to find the absolute wildest, most untouched remnants of this land, you must leave the rolling plains entirely and follow the setting sun into the towering dark green shadows of the western mountains. The plains surrender to stone. Here in the far west, the earth folds upward into the Carpathians. This is a great forested arc sweeping out of Central Europe, ending in a labyrinth of mist and shadow. At its apex stands Mount Hova, its peak forever wrestling with the storm clouds. Below it, the modern world simply falls away. In these deep, plunging valleys, you will find something the continent has almost entirely lost: primeval wilderness. These are the ancient beech and spruce forests. UNESCO protects them, but the mountains themselves are the true guardians. Some of these towering giants have stood for over 300 years. Their roots draped in thick emerald moss, completely untouched by the logger's axe. When humanity does intrude, nature simply absorbs it, bending the branches over an old railway track to create a breathtaking living archway known as the Tunnel of Love. This green dark is a sanctuary. It is the last true refuge for Europe's pristine ghosts. The Eurasian lynx stalks these ridges, a phantom predator, known mostly by the tracks it leaves in the winter snow. Deep in the thickets wanders the European bison, a shaggy, magnificent survivor from the Ice Age, pulled back from the absolute brink of extinction to walk this earth once again. Down in the damp leaf litter after the rain glides a smaller, almost alien wonder, the Carpathian blue slug, luminous and electric, existing almost nowhere else on the planet. And somewhere in the vast unbroken timber reigns the brown bear. The Carpathians hold the largest wild population of them in Europe. Most Highlanders will live their entire lives without ever seeing one, but the bear sees them. The people who share this high country, the Hutsal shepherds, have bent their lives around these steep slopes for centuries. They are a people shaped by altitude and isolation. You can taste the ruggedness of their existence in Banosh, a rich cornmeal stirred with sour cream and smoked sheep's cheese cooked slowly over an open pine fire. It is food built for survival in the cold. In these mist-choked ravines, the old magic still breathes. They say the Mulfash, the mountain shamans who read the weather and speak the forgotten language of herbs, still quietly practice their ancient craft. The elevation drops, the wild forests give way to cobbled streets, and just beyond the foothills, waiting in the fading light, is a city that doesn't look like the rest of the country at all. A place where 3 different empires collided, leaving behind a perfectly preserved masterpiece of stone. Welcome to Lviv. You could drop this historic center into the middle of Austria or the Czech Republic, and it would not look out of place. It is a breathtaking maze of Renaissance facades, sweeping Baroque domes, and grand Habsburg boulevards. For centuries, the borders of empires shifted back and forth across these cobbled squares, like the tides. It has been ruled from Vienna, from Warsaw, from Moscow. Yet beneath every changing flag, the city stubbornly kept its own soul. To understand how many worlds have claimed this place, you only need to walk through the quiet, tree-lined avenues of the Lychakiv cemetery. Beneath weeping stone angels and intricate ironwork gone green with age, rest the poets, generals, and architects of 3 different empires. It is a silent, sprawling museum of everyone who ever believed this city belonged to them. But above ground, Lviv is fiercely alive, driven by a rhythm inherited from its cosmopolitan past. And that rhythm runs on coffee. Legend has it that a local hero named Yuri Kulchitsky brought the very first sacks of coffee beans back from the Ottoman camps centuries ago, essentially teaching Eastern Europe how to drink it. That dark, slow habit never left. Down in the dimly lit cellars and hidden cobblestone courtyards, brewing coffee is still treated as an art form. Warmed slowly in scorching sand or served erupting in blue flames, it is a daily, unhurried ceremony. Yet in Lviv, even a cup of coffee can come with a secret. Walk down the right alleyway, knock on a heavy, unmarked wooden door, and a guard in uniform will demand a password. Utter the correct historical phrase and you are allowed to descend into a subterranean tavern. Modeled after the hidden bunkers of the underground resistance, these secret spaces are a playful nod to a very serious history. It is a reminder that this city has always known how to hide. And that is exactly why, whenever the darkest chapters of history threaten to repeat themselves, Lviv takes on a sacred duty. It becomes the nation's vault. When danger presses in from the east, the country's most priceless treasures, its ancient manuscripts, its paintings, its fragile artifacts, are quietly moved into these western cellars. Lviv is the ultimate protector of the culture. But to truly understand the immense weight of what this city is protecting, we must leave the safety of these western streets and face the breathtaking, heartbreaking beauty of the Golden East. Leave the safety of stone behind, and the world opens up once more. In the center and the east, the land flattens out into an ocean of gold. Millions of sunflowers stand shoulder to shoulder, stretching infinitely toward the horizon, all turning their faces in unison to catch the summer light. It is a staggering display of abundance rooted in that deep, black Chernozem soil. But it is here, amid this overwhelming fertility, that you encounter the most devastating paradox of the 20th century. In the early 1930s, the totalitarian state that ruled this territory decided to break the independent spirit of the farmers. They imposed impossible harvest quotas. When the yields fell short, the authorities swept through the villages and took everything. The wheat, the seed grain, the vegetables hidden in the walls. Then they sealed the borders of the Republic. Millions of people starved to death on the richest agricultural land on the planet. It is known as the Holodomor, death by hunger. A manufactured famine designed to weaponize the earth against the very people who tended it. The century offered no reprieve. Less than a decade later, the steep ravines of Babin Yar on the outskirts of Kyiv became the epicenter of unspeakable grief, swallowing tens of thousands of lives in one of the most brutal massacres of the Holocaust. And further south, an entire indigenous nation, the Crimean Tatars, were roused in the dead of night, loaded onto cattle trains, and deported from their ancestral shores in an attempt to erase their existence entirely. They tried to erase the people, and then they try to erase the memory. For centuries, the history of this land was carried by the Kobzari, wandering blind bards who traveled the country playing a beautiful, multi-stringed instrument called the bandura. They sang the ancient epics. They were the living libraries of the steppe. In the 1930s, the regime recognized that a people who remember who they are cannot be subjugated. Hundreds of these blind musicians were invited to a grand congress. Instead of a stage, they were taken to a forest, shot and thrown into a trench. Their instruments were cast into the fire. There is no record of this in the official newspapers of the time. The silence was meant to be total and permanent. But here is the great, undeniable truth of this country. The state fundamentally misunderstood how memory works. You can burn an instrument, you can dig a trench, but you cannot shoot a song. The bandura was rebuilt in secret. The melodies were whispered in the dark, passed quietly to children who would not see a free country for decades. Today, those same ancient soaring epics ring out on the streets of a sovereign nation. The empires shattered, the music survived. If the East is a story of heavy, unyielding endurance, the Deep South is an entirely different world. Here, where the steppe collides with the deep blue waters of the Black Sea, the air turns salty, the light softens, and the country exhales. This is the coast, and its undisputed queen is Odessa. Odessa was built to be a masterpiece, with its grand neoclassical facades, wide oak-lined boulevards, and the monumental Potemkin stairs tumbling down to the harbour. It is a city of undeniable swagger. It has always been a cosmopolitan crossroads, a place where Greeks, Italians, Jews, and Ukrainians traded through the same port. That collision of cultures gave Odessa something unique in this part of the world, an irreverent, irrepressible sense of humor. You can taste that free-spirited nature in the food. Sit at a seaside cafe and order crispy fried gobe by fish caught fresh that morning, or a plate of forschmacka, rich, savory Jewish herring pate that is as essential to Odessa as the sea breeze. But, like everything in this country, Odessa has two faces. While the city above dances in the sun, a sprawling labyrinth exists directly beneath it. These are the catacombs. Originally carved out to mine the pale limestone that built the elegant city above, they evolved into a massive shadowy network. Stretching for an estimated 2,500 kilometers, it is a subterranean world larger than the metro systems of New York and Paris combined. Over the centuries, these pitch-black tunnels have hidden smugglers, concealed wartime partisans, and kept the city's darkest secrets entirely out of sight. And yet, if you push inland from the coast, you will find mysteries that make the catacombs look recent. In the region of Padillia, hidden beneath gentle, unassuming green hills, lies a geological marvel, the longest gypsum cave system in the world. It is a twisting, crystal-lined maze over 260 kilometers long, and explorers are still mapping its depths. Long before those caves were mapped, long before Odessa was a blueprint, and long before the Cossacks rode the steppe, a civilization thrived here that predates the pyramids. The Tripilians. "6,000 years ago, they built sprawling concentric settlements, crafted intricate spiral pottery, and then inexplicably burned their own cities to the ground every few generations, only to rebuild them again. And in this same region, archaeologists have uncovered something even more astonishing. Dwellings built 15,000 years ago, framed entirely from the massive skulls and tusks of Ice Age mammoths. The deep past is everywhere here, layer upon layer upon layer. It reminds you that no matter what happens in the present, this land has seen epochs rise and fall. But nothing, absolutely nothing, proves the staggering resilience of this land, quite like a place roughly 100 kilometers north of the capital. A place the world wrote off entirely 40 years ago. You know the name, Chornobyl. For exactly 40 years, that word has been a global synonym for the apocalypse. A dead zone, a forbidden perimeter where the earth was poisoned so profoundly that human habitation was banned for thousands of years. Walk through the ghost city of Pripyat today, and the silence is absolute. The rusting yellow Ferris wheel stands frozen against the autumn sky, waiting for a May Day celebration that never arrived. Open school books slowly turn to dust on abandoned desks. It is an eerie, heartbreaking monument to the moment the clock simply stopped. But look closer at the shattered concrete, and you will see that the story did not end when the people fled. Without us, the land did something miraculous. It did not die. It swallowed the ruins. Maples and silver birches have ripped through the asphalt, turning wide Soviet avenues into dense, rustling forests. And with the forests came the wild. Today, the Chornobyl exclusion zone is one of the largest, most vibrant wildlife sanctuaries in all of Europe. Packs of wolves now hunt in the overgrown apple orchards. Brown bears, completely absent from this region for over a century, have returned to roam the silent streets. Moose wade peacefully through the abandoned cooling channels. And most astonishingly, the Przewalski's horses, the last truly wild horses on Earth, were brought here in the late 1990s as a desperate experiment. They didn't just survive, they thrived. Today, you can watch them foaling in the radioactive meadows, running wild and free through what was supposed to be the most toxic ground on the continent. Nature, it turns out, was far less afraid of radiation than it was of us. But the most profound act of defiance in the zone doesn't belong to the animals. It belongs to the grandmothers. In the months following the evacuation, a scattering of elderly women, known as the Samosli or self-settlers, simply walked back through the military checkpoints. They returned to their ancestral wooden cabins deep in the contaminated woods. They planted gardens in the poisoned soil. They drew water from the old wells. They lived out their quiet lives, surrounded by a forest filling up with wolves. If you ask them why they returned, they will offer you a glass of homemade samohon and a simple, undeniable truth. A person does not live longer by leaving the only home they have ever known. They survived because their roots were deeper than the catastrophe. Like the wild horses, like the birch trees tearing through the asphalt, they refused to read the warning signs on the fence. They proved that life, given even the narrowest sliver of an opening, will always find a way to return. When you step back and look at the whole of it, from the first pale light striking the snow-capped ridges of the Carpathians, to the shadow of a falcon sweeping across the endless steppe, to the warm golden glow spilling from a kitchen window in Kyiv, you begin to see the true architecture of a nation's soul. To understand this land, you only need to understand a single word, volia. In the Ukrainian language, it translates to freedom, but it also means willpower. Because here, the two are entirely inseparable. You cannot have freedom without the fierce, stubborn will to hold on to it. You see that will in the ancient ritual of the Chornobyl, a grand, towering bread intricately sculpted by hand with dough birds and stalks of wheat. The act of kneading the dough, baking it in the fire, and breaking it to share with strangers is the ultimate expression of hospitality. It is a communion of survival, a quiet promise that, no matter how brutal the winter, the harvest will return and the bread will be broken together. For 1,000 years, empires have tried to erase this culture, this language, this people. Every single one of them has failed. This country is so much larger, so much more brilliant, and infinitely more magnificent than the tragedies currently happening to it. It is a place that welcomes you with profound warmth, eternal beauty, and a fierce, unbreakable love. It was here long before the world was watching, and it will stand resolute and golden long after the news cycle moves on. Thank you for wandering with us. If you believe in looking beyond the headlines to discover the quiet, enduring wonders of our Earth, subscribe to Unseen Planet. There is always more to the story.